Hola clase, this is Profe again with my second video for Spanish 2. I am about to introduce you to a new verb tense called el futuro. And this is going to be centered around distance learning week 4. I call it Tarea número 4 in our Teams page. So if you have not done weeks 1, 2, and 3, those are about affirmative and negative commands. I suggest you go back and take a look at the video that I submitted to you all last week about affirmative and negative commands. But if you are on to distance learning week 4, or you want to get started on it, and you're having some trouble with el futuro, or you want to just hear me talk it out, I am here right now going to talk about both ways to speak about the future. So I am here, this is my little letter to you all. I am here on the first page of notes, which is página 2. And it says, Nueva información el futuro. Okay, so in Spanish, there are 2 ways to speak about the future. In this packet, you will review one that you learned in Spanish 1 and learn another. You will be required to know both, though, so even though you can choose which one you like, you have to know both. Neither are complicated, so this video should not be very long. The first one is a review of a little formula called ir plus a plus infinitive. Okay, so in Spanish 1, we learned that the verb ir means to go, and we learned that it has a ton of uses. When we use the verb ir in the present tense, excuse me. When we use the verb ir in the present tense, followed by the prepositional a, just this letter a, and in infinitive, we are saying that we are going to do something. Something is going to happen. Okay, using that verb ir to be going to. Okay, and here's the formula. Your 6 subjects here. Yo voy a, I am going to. Tú vas a, you are going to. Él or ella va a, they are going to. Nosotros vamos a, we are going to. Vosotros vais a, y'all are going to. And ellos, ellas van a, they are going to. So that plus an infinitive or an unconjugated verb ending in AR, ER, or IR is saying that you or someone is going to do something in the future. Okay, should be a review for you all, but here are some ejemplos. So it says, tomorrow I am going to do my homework. In Spanish, I would say, mañana yo voy a hacer mi tarea. Yo voy a comes from this part of the formula here, I am going to. And then hacer mi tarea comes from this part of the formula. You can see that hacer is not conjugated. This is an infinitive, right? We don't need to conjugate this one. Yo voy a is already conjugated. We don't have 2 conjugated verbs next to one another in Spanish. We're not allowed to do that. It's actually a good thing. Okay, in an hour, we are going to cook dinner. En una hora, nosotros vamos a cocinar la cena. Okay, nosotros vamos a, we are going to. This comes from the ir, part of the ir plus a plus infinitive formula. And then cocinar la cena, to cook dinner, right? It shows up just like it does in Spanish, to cook dinner here in English. Cocinar la cena, to cook dinner. This is an unconjugated verb. It ends with AR. It is an infinitive. Okay, and last one here. In 5 years, she is going to be a lawyer. En 5 años, ella va a ser una abogada. All right, we have ella va a, she is going to. That comes from right up here in the ir, part of the ir plus a plus infinitive formula. And then ser, meaning to be, is our infinitive. It's an unconjugated verb. It ends with er. It fits the formula perfectly. Quick note, if you want to, in your fin de semanas, write about something that was going to happen in the past, but it didn't, you can use the same exact formula, ir plus a plus infinitive, with the imperfect. So if you wanted to say, for example, I was going to do something, you can say, yo iba a hacer mi tarea, pero mi mamá me llamó. I was going to do my work, but my mom called me. Okay, so it works the same way. Now, moving on to the future tense. This is new information, but it should not be scary. It really should not be scary. This is one of the easiest things that I remember learning from my Spanish classes in high school. So the future tense, same idea as ir plus a plus infinitive. It is to talk about what will happen. What will happen? Okay, it hasn't happened yet. It's not happening right now. It will happen. Okay, so To form the future tense of regular AR, ER, and IR verbs, use the same set of endings for all the verbs and just add them to the end of the infinitive. So two things are happening here. One, I'm going to type this out for you. All endings are the same. So there's no AR endings, ER endings, IR endings for this one. Okay? If the preterite was the most complicated and the present tense was somewhat complicated, this should be the least complicated. There are all the same endings. All the endings are the same. Okay? And they're all right here. And then the other thing is add endings directly to the infinitive. So I do not have to, when I conjugate in the future tense, take off the AR, the ER, the IR like we do for every other verb tense. Okay? You do not have to take off the AR, ER, or IR. We are adding these endings directly to the infinitive. Directly to the infinitive. Okay? So here is a box. This box has a lot of information. Okay? And I made this box so that I could show you that the endings for each of these verbs are the same, regardless of them being an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb. So trabajar, we know is an AR verb. If I wanted to say I will work, yo trabajaré, with an accent on the E, just like my little endings up here. See that? Yo seré, I will be. Even though this is an ER verb, which is different from this one, which is an AR verb, they still have the same ending. And this E with an accent sits at the back of the infinitive. Okay? And down here, I will live, viviré. I will live. It has vivir directly in it, which is an IR verb. I did not take off the IR. I just plopped my little E with an accent right down on the end. Super simple. For two, this works the same way. You will work. Trabajarás. Notice how it has the verb trabajar directly in it. And I just added the as with an A accent on the A directly to the end. You will be, serás. Has the word ser right there in it. And vivirás, you will live. It has vivir directly in it. We just plopped our little A with an accent S right on the end. And boom, you're good, ready to go. The same thing continues for the rest of them. The only thing I want to point out here is that the EMOS in trabajaremos, seremos, and viviremos, we will work, we will live, we will be, we will live, does not have an accent. So you need your accents for the yo, tú, el, ella, vosotros, and ellos, ellas forms, but the nosotros form does not get an accent. So again, it says all AR, ER, and IR verbs have the same endings. Those endings are directly up here. All endings are placed directly at the end of the infinitive, and all endings use accents except nosotros. We should be good on that. If you have more questions, let me know. For reflexive verbs or IOP, DOPs, put the pronoun in front of the verb in the future tense. So, for example, this one, if I wanted to say, I will tell him, you will say, le diré. No, that's not a good one because that is irregular. Instead, we will say, I will speak to him. Le hablaré. Okay? That le is our indirect object pronoun, meaning him. Hablaré is I will speak. Notice how it has the verb hablar directly in there without taking off the AR, and we just popped our little E with an accent right at the end. If we want to do an reflexive verb, for example, say I will wake up. I will wake myself up. You will say me despertaré. I will wake myself up. Despertar is to wake oneself. Despertarse is to wake oneself up. And we add our A, or we do not take off our AR, we just add our E there. And notice that the reflexive verb comes out to the front. This is a conjugated verb. We can't hang anything on to the end of that. All right, so here are a few examples. Tomorrow I will send my homework to profe. Mañana yo enviaré mi tarea a profe. It has the verb enviar directly in it, and our little E with an accent is plopped to the end. I will send. In an hour, my brother and I will eat dinner. En una hora, mi hermano y yo comeremos cena. We will eat dinner. Comer is directly in here, and the hemos is our nosotros ending in the future. And the last one, in a year, she will write a book. En un año, ella escribirá un libro. The here at the end is directly placed onto the infinitive escribir. It is the third person plural, singular ending right here. She will write. All right, and my last little bit of information here is irregulars. As always, there are some irregular verbs to be aware of. Okay, these verbs use the same endings as the regular verbs above. So for our regular and irregular verbs, here are the endings. There are no different endings in the future. It's just these 6 endings here. And we really don't even use vosotros. Okay, but they have stems that are irregular. So for these, you just kind of have to memorize them. They're here in the underlined and bolded and highlighted sections. Okay, so for the verb hacer, meaning to do, H-A-R is the stem. Durante cuarentena, como tú harás ejercicio. Notice, H-A-R is the stem. We added A-S, A with an accent, because that is our to ending here, directly to the end of this verb. Okay, poder, to be able to. Okay, P-O-D-R, podr is the stem. We add our endings directly onto that. Nosotros podremos usar coches que vuelan. E-M-O-S is our nosotros ending. For the future, we add that right onto the stem. Okay, moving down. Tener, I will, you will have, to have. Tendre is the stem. Algún día ella tendrá un trabajo con un salario muy bueno. Muy bien, this is great. Ella tendrá, she will have. T-E-N-D-R is our stem, and we add our A with an accent directly onto that because that is the el ella ending in the future. So again, to sum up, even though we have irregulars, all of our endings are the same. And other than our irregulars, our regular verbs, we can just add our endings directly to the end of the infinitive. With our irregular verbs, we just have to understand that their stems are irregular, but the endings are the same, and we add our endings directly to the end of the stems for our irregular verbs. Super easy. I went over some sentence starters for future tense, which you will need to use in several areas, and there are some important vocabulario importante sobre las profesiones, and your question words once again. So I am going to scroll down a little bit. Here I give you some examples for how I would use the future tense to talk about things that I am going to do. Let's see, I am going to go to I'm going to go to Tarea número 2 and just do a couple examples here, and then I'm going to end the video. Let's do number 3. Cuando yo termino escuela, escribirá una carta a profe. All right, so the verb we want to focus on here is escribirá, which is obviously somebody trying to write the verb escribir in the future. So in order to rewrite this, I'm going to say cuando yo termino escuela. I'll move this over here so everybody can see it. Okay. Yo escribiré una carta. Okay. So what I did here is I took this verb escribir, I made it its infinitive, escribir, okay? And then I just figured out who's the subject of the sentence. The subject of the sentence is yo. It says the verb yo right here, or the word yo right here. So all I have to do is go back and figure out what my ending is. My ending for the yo form in the future is E with an accent. It sits right on the back of my infinitive there. Yo escribiré una carta. Muy bien. Okay. Let's do número 4. Número 4. Mañana Miguel y Daniel. Iremos al mercado para ir de compras. Well, iremos is the way you would say the verb ir in the future. However, Miguel y Daniel are not a nosotros subject. They are an ellos subject. So what I want to do is take that ir, which is the infinitive, and put my ending directly onto that. Irán al mercado. They will go. So instead of saying we will go, it says they will go. Okay, because an with an accent on the a is my third person plural ending, ellos ending for el futuro. Okay, let's do one with the ir plus a plus infinitive. Okay, this is all pretty simple. It says, cuando mi padre está trabajando, yo vamos a cuidar a los hermanitos. Okay, so cuando mi padre está trabajando, that looks great. Yo, and then we have an ir plus a plus infinitive here with the verb cuidar. So instead of yo vamos a cuidar a los hermanitos, yo vamos a is we are going to take care of them. But mi padre está trabajando. So I need to change that to yo voy a cuidar a los hermanitos. That should sum it up because yo and voy go together. All right. If you have any more questions with this, please let me know. Also notice that here I gave you another option for the fin de semana. You can write a fin de semana if you'd like, about your weekend or any time that you spent recently in the past. Or if you'd like, you can write 10 sentences in the future tense about what you will do when we go back to school. Keep these simple, but make sure you do not use the same verb twice. Okay? Also worth 20 points. So thank you very much. Please fill out my survey if you made it all the way to the end of this video. And you can always email me, call me, text me via chat on Teams if you have any questions. Hasta luego.